Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're running a nonprofit in California, you already know that grants are pretty much the lifeblood of your mission. But being ready for that funding, it's about so much more than just having a fantastic idea. Today, we are going to do a deep dive into the absolute essential documents that prove your organization is solid, in good standing, and totally ready for that investment. So let me just ask you straight up. Is your nonprofit really grant ready? I mean, right this second. If the perfect grant, the one you've been dreaming of, landed on your desk with a 48-hour deadline, could you confidently hit submit? For a lot of folks, the honest answer is a pretty stressful, maybe. And look, here's the hard truth. Having a great mission just isn't enough anymore. Funders aren't just investing in what you want to do. They're investing in you, in your organization. They have to see that you're not only doing good work, but that you're also a stable, compliant, and legally sound operation that's built to last. And when you're not, it leads to what I call the last-minute scramble. We've all been there, right? A deadline is looming, and bam, you're frantically digging through old emails, shared drives, dusty filing cabinets, looking for that one IRS letter or the bylaws from 3 years ago. It is just a recipe for stress and, honestly, for missed opportunities. And you have to understand the stakes here are incredibly high. Funders, especially the savvy ones, they don't just take your word for it. They do their own homework. If they go online and find out your organization is suspended or forfeited, your application is dead in the water. It doesn't matter how incredible your program is. It's an automatic no. So how do we avoid all this chaos? How do we sidestep that automatic rejection? Well, the solution is really built on two core pillars. I want you to picture it like this. First, you need a solid federal foundation. And then, sitting right on top of that, you need a perfectly intact California compliance triangle. If you get these two things right, you are golden. Okay, let's start by building that first pillar, your federal foundation. This is the bedrock, the absolute non-negotiable part, and it's all about proving your status to the big one, the IRS. First step is your IRS determination letter. I want you to think of this as literally the birth certificate of your nonprofit. It's that official piece of paper from the federal government that says, yep, you are a legit 501c3. Funders will almost always ask for this very first thing to make sure you are who you say you are. Next up, something a little different, the TEOS database printout. Now, unlike that static letter from years ago, this is a live health check. Anyone, including a funder, can go to the IRS's tax-exempt organization search, that's TEOS, and see your status right now. You want it to say, eligible to receive tax-deductible contributions. If it says revoked, well, that's a 5-alarm fire you need to put out immediately. And rounding out the federal level, your Form 990s. These are your yearly report cards to the world. A smart funder will look at these to see the whole story behind the numbers, where your money comes from, how you spend it, what you pay your leaders. It's the ultimate proof of your financial health and your commitment to transparency. Okay, with our federal foundation solid, we can now build that all-important second pillar, the California Compliance Triangle. This concept is so crucial. It means you have to be in good standing with count them, three separate state agencies, all at the exact same time. The first side of that triangle is the Secretary of State, the SOS. Your corporate status with them must be active. This is totally non-negotiable. An active status is what proves you're a legal entity in California that can do things like, sign a grant agreement. The second side is the Franchise Tax Board, or FTB. This is where your state tax-exempt status lives. If a funder looks you up and sees suspended here, that is a massive red flag. It tells them you've probably missed some required filings and might even owe the state money. And the final, critical side of our triangle is the Attorney General's Registry of Charities. Your status here must be current. Why? Because this is what legally authorizes you to ask for money in California. If you're listed as delinquent, you are technically fundraising illegally. Yikes! So here's the key takeaway, the whole point of the triangle. You need all three sides to be strong. Active with the SOS, but delinquent with the AG, the triangle is broken. Current with the AG, but suspended by the FTB, broken. Any weakness in just one of these areas makes the whole structure fall apart, and it will absolutely block your access to funding. Okay, so we know what we need. That's the hard part, right? Now, how do we actually manage it all without going crazy? Let's talk about building a simple system that takes you from that last-minute chaos to a state of cool, calm control. It's really just a simple 4-step process. First, inventory. Just figure out what documents you have and what's missing. Second, verify. Go online today, right after this, and check your real-time status with the IRS, SOS, FTB, and AG. Third, organize. Create one master folder, and I really recommend you have both a digital and a physical one where all this stuff lives. And fourth, update. Put a recurring reminder on your calendar to pull fresh status reports every single quarter. Easy. All right, before we wrap up, let's quickly tackle a few common mistakes and questions that I see trip people up all the time. Getting these little details right can honestly be the difference between a winning application and an instant rejection. I want you to burn this number into your brain. 30. 30 days. For most funders, any status printout you submit needs to be dated within the last 30 days. Why? Simple. Your compliance status can literally change overnight, and they need proof of where you stand right now, not 6 months ago. Here's another one that always causes confusion. Articles of incorporation versus bylaws. Just think of it this way. Your articles are the public document you filed with the state that created your corporation. Your bylaws, on the other hand, are your internal rulebook. They say how your board works and how you govern yourselves. And yep, funders often want to see both. So after you've gathered all this paperwork and submitted it, you might be wondering, do funders really go and check all this stuff on their own? The answer is a huge emphatic yes. You better believe they do. Any sophisticated funder is going to verify your status on their own. The lesson here is simple. Don't even think about trying to fudge it. Submitting an old or misleading document is the fastest way to get rejected, and worse, to destroy your reputation. So to pull it all together, here it is, your essential grant-ready checklist. You need that IRS determination letter, a TEOS printout from the last 30 days, your most recent Form 990s, and clean current status reports from the California SOS, FTB, and AG. You add your articles and bylaws to that pile, and you have got a bulletproof folder ready to go. You see, in the end, this isn't really about paperwork at all. Being grant-ready is a strategic mindset. It's about transforming that moment of sheer panic when a deadline pops up into a moment of pure opportunity. A moment where all your energy can go into writing an amazing proposal, not hunting for documents. And that just leaves us with one final thought. Your next big opportunity, that game-changing grant that could secure your mission for years to come, it could show up tomorrow. So the only question left to ask is your folder ready?